This is published in The Guardian, right? And it's by an Israeli sociology professor, and it was published in Haaretz, which is an Israeli daily. And once again, they say that the civilian population of total deaths just in the first 3 weeks, right, rose to 61%. That ratio is significantly higher than the average civilian toll in all the conflicts around the world during the 20th century, in which civilians accounted for about half the dead. So 61 is conservative, but even then, it makes Gaza worse than all the wars in the 20th century, which is really, really saying something. Any country behaves like this, the Americans would use that as an excuse to sanction them, to bomb them, to invade them, to besiege them. You know, how many times have we've seen this? With Iraq, they did it. With Syria, to this day, you have sanctions on Syria that are starving people because the United States thinks that, Bashar al-Assad is brutal. Okay, well, I'm sorry, but first of all, that's bullshit. But let's assume that, what they're saying is true. You can't tell me that Israel is less brutal than, Bashar al-Assad or anyone else. No, on the contrary, Israel is a million times more brutal than anyone the United States has sanctioned or bombed for their brutality. So logically, if the United States, in its unilateral, illegal sanctions, had one standard, they would have sanctioned the crap out of Israel. But again, the sanctions are not only illegal, they're also hypocritical. So that's lovely, right? There has to be accountability for this. And the thing is that when the institutions that were set up to provide accountability and prevent these things from happening in the first place, like, for example, the Geneva Convention, the Hague Conventions, which again, the Hague Convention is before World War I. But I'm talking about, for example, the International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice, the United Nations Security Council. All these organs and bodies and international institutions are failing. They don't work. It's not because, I wish they would work. I really do. But the United States, especially the United States, is the one undermining them. And it's doing it for who? For Israel, at Israel's behest. So we cannot have someone like Israel destroying all of this, infrastructure and all these institutions that were set up to hold criminals like this accountable because, it wants more promised land or Lebensraum for the Übermenschen chosen people, yeah? And the irony of this is that Israel will constantly say, well, we have to do this because we were persecuted in World War II. And yeah, okay, but after World War II, there was you had the Nuremberg tribunals where crimes against humanity were thought up as a crime, right? That this is beyond a war crime, it's a crime against humanity itself. And so Israel, while saying it's a victim of Nazi persecution in World War II, which is true, not Israel, but Jews, it then, at the same time, violates and attacks the institutions that were created after World War II to prevent that sort of thing from happening. So this is hypocrisy on another level, and we have multiple layers of criminality here that are beyond comprehension. It's really something else.